About a year ago, I made a video showing you how you could build something like this, a giant Moc, for as cheaply as possible. If you've ever tried to build something in this scale, you learn very quickly just how expensive LEGO can be. I revealed all my best secrets at the time that I knew for how to save money when building something like this and buying LEGO, but I'm coming back at you today because I have a lot more tips and other secrets that I've learned, and I'm going to show them to you today on how you can save even more money when building a LEGO Moc. My first tip is to acquire a base variety of parts. You need parts to work with so that you can make prototypes for your Moc, because if there's going to be any problems, you want to solve those before you go and buy hundreds or thousands of any particular piece. By making prototypes, you can make sure that your design actually works before you commit to buying parts. So how do you get all of these parts? There's a couple of ways. First, you can buy used boxes of bulk by the pound, and you can get this like on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or pretty much anywhere. And basically, as you'll see, this is just loose parts from sets that were taken apart by kids or whatever and then sold off by the pound. For something like this, you want to pay like $3 to $5 a pound. And the downside of doing it this way is you are going to have to like wash it all because it's usually pretty dirty, and then you're going to have to sort it out into your collection. The other good way to acquire bulk, and probably my favorite, is also on eBay. I bought this giant box full of parts, and these are all brand new parts. These are Orphan Bags. Now, I'm not entirely sure how something like this comes to be. I guess it's kids who start building a set and they don't finish, and somehow these all end up collected somehow. I don't know the details about how it works. All I know is that they exist. And you can buy stuff like this by the pound as well. I think I paid like $8, including shipping, per pound for all these Orphan Bags. And so none of these actually make up a complete set. You know, you might have 2 bags from one set, a bag from another. But you can buy something like this, and then every night you can pop open a bag and sort it into your part collection. And that's how you can build something like this. Like I said, it's important that you have parts on hand, a large variety of parts on hand, in order to prototype your designs before you commit to buying things off of Bricklink, only for them to arrive and then you find out that maybe your design was flawed or you don't like the way that it looks, and those parts aren't going to work because that ends up just being wasted money. The plus side of having a large variety of parts is when you're building your Moc, you'll inevitably come across a situation where you just need 1 or 2 of a piece, and you're far more likely to be able to have that if you have a large variety collection to begin with. And having that is really critical because it will save you from placing a special dedicated Bricklink order where you're going to end up needing just, 3 or 4 parts, and then you end up having to pay shipping. Shipping is the #1 killer of budgets for Mocs that I have found. And so you want to cut down that as much as possible. So this is one of my favorite ways to acquire a baseline variety. And it may seem like an expensive cost out the door, but you spend a couple $100 developing a baseline collection. You can just add to it over the years, and this will end up saving you a ton of money in the long run by having parts on hand that you can work with and prototype with. The next tip is to plan ahead. So I've known for a long time, probably 4 or 5 years, that I wanted to build a large-scale Hogwarts Moc. So one of the things I've done over the years is I pay attention to when sets go on clearance. So you might remember this set from many years ago. I believe it retired at the end of 2019, the Grindelwald's Escape Carriage. This set was originally $20. The price tag on them says $11, but I think I got them cheaper than this. I think I got them for like $8 each. But since I've known that I was working on a Hogwarts Moc, or wanted to, one of the things that I want to do is have a Thestral herd. And at the time, this was the only set that had a Thestral in it. And this was not a popular set. So when they went on clearance at Walmart, I bought a lot of them. Here's 5 of them. I think I have a couple more in the closet, actually. And I bought this just for the Thestral. but as a bonus, I will get 132 other parts for free. So if you're building in a particular theme, pay special attention to clearances. I will tell you that with Walmart, they typically do a big clearance sale right before or after. The time varies just a little bit, of big LEGO releases. So the big releases are the January 1st wave. They have to make room on the shelves and clear those things out that didn't sell before the Christmas holiday. So usually like the first week of January, last week of December, they will run a big clearance sale, and you can go in and buy sets that, you know, are theme appropriate for whatever it is that you're working on. The other big one they do tends to be in the summer, and this is usually the biggest one. It usually happens like around late July, early August, because they're trying to make room for the big August, September waves that LEGO does. So you can go in and kind of keep tabs on it. And a lot of times you can find like some stupid cheap deals on LEGO clearance at Walmart. Other retailers do it as well, like Target, but it's a little bit hit or miss with those places. I've had far more success with Walmart. And you typically want to visit the Walmart stores that are in more suburban areas, I guess you will. Like not big city Walmarts that get a lot of traffic. You know, if you live in a town and say there's like a smaller town 20 to 30 minutes outside of where you live, those are the kind of Walmarts you want to visit because they have to keep the same amount of LEGO in stock as the bigger Walmarts, but they get far less traffic, so they're far more likely to run their stuff on clearance when it comes time to make room on those shelves. In my last video, I talked about making bricklink orders and some things that you need to know. And another tip I have for you is, especially if you live in the United States, like I do, and you happen to live in a state that charges very high sales tax, like 7, 8, 9% sales tax, which I think is most of the United States, to be honest. There's a few states that that probably don't apply to. But if you live in one of those states, a lot of bricklink sellers duplicate their stores over onto Brickowl. They're just mirror images of each other. The prices will be the same. The selection will be the same. The shipping will be the same. Terms, everything's identical. The only difference is that on Brickowl, since it's based overseas, you don't have to pay sales tax when you make a purchase. So if you're going to spend, say, $300 on Bricklink, and, you know, just for easy math, we'll say you have a 10% sales tax, you can make that same order over on Brickowl and save yourself, you know, 25, 30 bucks off the order, just by avoiding the sales tax. The website I find is a little bit clunkier than Bricklink and not quite as intuitive, but if you play around with it, I'm sure you can get it figured out. But that's another way where you can save, you know, money directly off the top and not have to pay that extra amount. This next tip brings me to my wife's Lego City, and I apologize for the poor lighting in here, but this is the Daily Bugle. She wanted to have a Daily Bugle in her city for a skyscraper, but she didn't really necessarily want it to be superheroed. And I'll come around to the other side, and I think you can see that there are no superhero things in here. She just wanted like a tall building for her city. And so one thing that you can do is, if you have similar needs, a lot of times what you can do is you can purchase the set. Like I think the Daily Bugle is like around $350 or so to buy it. But if you were to buy this set, you can sell off the minifigs. I just checked them as of making this video, so it may be a little bit different if you're watching this, you know, a year into the future. But as of today, you could sell the minifigs from the Daily Bugle set for between $180 and $200. And then if you couple that, like if you buy this at the same time that there's a good gift with purchase from LEGO, you could probably squeeze another $30 to $40 out of the gift with purchase if you were willing to sell that off as well. And you could cut the price of the Daily Bugle down from about $350 down to around $120 to $130. For a set that has over 3,500 pieces, that works out to about 3 cents each, which is a huge savings if you are planning on using all or almost all of the parts. Because if you were to purchase all those parts separately, you'd be paying probably 10 to 15 cents per part. So it represents a significant cost savings. And you can do this with almost any set, although it works better with licensed themes, so it doesn't work out so good with LEGO City. But if you do like superheroes, Star Wars, or Harry Potter, if you find a set that has a lot of parts that you need for your mock, you can buy it and sell off the figs, and you can reduce the cost of those sets by, 50 to 80%, depending on which set it is, and if you got gift with purchases with it. And then you also get the VIP points, or I guess LEGO Insider points, to go with that. So that is another cost-saving tip, is look for sets that have parts that you want, and then sell off the minifigs. And as we leave here, I'll give you a glimpse of my wife's LEGO City. My last tip brings me back to my Hogwarts mock, where I want to show you that you may not be able to notice right away, but if you've watched some of my other videos, I've showed this a little bit more, but these walls are very thick. These walls, I think, are 5 studs or 5 bricks thick. And so one thing that you can do when you're building something is use filler brick. Filler brick is brick that's typically heavily scratched, slightly damaged. It may not be aesthetically, pleasing, but it is functional. And so if you're going to have something supported, or you just need something like if you're building a mountain to go on the inside, or you need something to take up space where no one's going to see it, which is like the center of these walls, use filler brick. It's much cheaper. You can get it on Facebook Marketplace, like by the box. A lot of BrickLink sellers will sell off their filler brick that they can't sell, as gently used and stuff like that. And it's really cheap, so you can get that. If you can't come by any filler brick, one thing to be considerate of is your brick color. So if you need a lot of filler brick, which is brick, once again, that no one is going to see, if it's going to be used as a support or something like that, a lot of colors on BrickLink, if you're ordering, are cheaper than other colors. So you wouldn't want to use like dark bluish gray or black as your filler brick, because those colors tend to be in really high demand, and people like them to build with, so they tend to be more expensive. You want to go after colors that most people don't use but are very common. I'm talking like red, orange, yellow, those types of colors. A lot of times those bricks can be half the cost of like a tan brick or a gray brick or black or something like that. I encourage you to click on this video right here to check out the video I made last year about other money saving tips and how to go about buying parts in very large quantities for as cheaply as possible. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.